Time we're gonna jump into what you've been playing. And as per usual, we're kind of been splitting these up a little bit, so I'll kind of reintroduce the gang. I'm Carlos Macias, Deo Blas, fresh from Japan. I'll just mention that again. We gotta get Dalen to Japan, man. And Luis Mendez on the wheels of steel. Luis, let's start with you, man. Actually, both of us have been playing this game, but I'll let you go first, of course. Spider-Man 2, sir. How has that been treating you lately?
Well, yeah, I guess since the last time we talked, I had basically I was close to beating the game.
Okay.
But I did beat it I think like 2 days ago. It's I don't know if there's much more I can add from what I said before, honestly, because I'm just gonna echo the same stuff. It's a great game. It's a really
Yeah.
good game. The story's really good. I really like the story. The combat is pretty satisfying. I like the changes they made with that. Uh, sure, there's bugs and stuff like people had mentioned, but I never encountered anything that was game breaking that I had to
Yeah.
like quit the game or the game crashed or anything like that. It was just visual bugs, really, kind of small things that resolve themselves in like a second or two.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else I
Yeah,
can say.
I know. For me, I just started playing it. By the way, it's kind of like the next up. I was gonna do this whole. I'm still gonna do it. By the way, to play Alan Wake 2. This is how my brain is broken. By the way, I have admitted it multiple times on Wax. I need to play the Fortnite Alan Wake experience. I'm gonna do that because that came out a few years ago. Just to get a little recap, I've never played Fortnite. I might have played like one match, but I'm gonna do that to a little Alan Wake experience. Then I'm gonna go to Control, which is like 10 hours. Then I'm gonna play Alan Wake 2. But before all that, I was like, let me do something nice for myself. Let me do. And so I jumped into Spider-Man 2. I kind of agree with everything you're saying, at least. And it's a nice game. The story is in particularly pretty nice, even though it toes the line of a little too realistic. At some point, I don't. It's very early in the game, but you go to Peter's house and you can kind of pick up things that are around his apartment or it's in his house. He picks up one slip of paper, and you'll know about this too, Dale. The mortgage statement, man. I'm like, what the no? What, these games are too real. These games are too real. I mean, I'm okay with my money, right? So I haven't had a past due statement, but I felt like a little ting in my a little feeling where it's like, damn, Peter, you gotta get your shit together, man. This is you passed your mortgage payments here, but it was a little too real. But other than that, I'm liking the game, man. One of the things that I might have a little bit of a I'm gonna have to work at it is the fast travel. You have to do enough activities in the area, right, to engage in that. You can't just like me and Dylan have been playing Gotham Knights recently. You can't just like pick something out of the sky, right? Or in what's the game, Assassin's Creed, where you just go up to the top of a tower, right? And it's like, okay, I got fast travel. So that's the one that's gonna actually get me into like, okay, I gotta kind of tear up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But other than that, this game is up there, man. Like there's levels to this shit, and it's like AAA is like. I mean, it's up there. I still got a couple more games to play, but I think Spider-Man 2 is going to be tough to knock off, man. Even though there's been Zelda, Mario, I actually kind of like. We're going to talk about it right now in a little bit, Dale. But it's one of those things that Spider-Man 2, man, it's going to be hard to knock off. The gameplay is super smooth. It's buttery smooth. It's, one of the things that we talk about on this podcast regularly, right? But the fact that it's like, what's the word that we use, by the way? Frictionless, right? It's for the most part, it's very frictionless gaming. And I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the story. I'm looking forward to. I'm kind of getting a sense, Luis, of like what you've been saying. You said it the last couple times we talked that like the story's that good, right? Like the story is that good, and I'm feeling it. I'm liking it.
Yeah.
I'm digging it.
Yeah, just to echo that, because I'm not sure if Dale heard it, but it was this is the first game in a very long time. I can't even think the last time this happened where I was just like, I just want to play the main story. Like I was that invested that I was like, fuck the side quests a little bit. I kind of just want to see what happens next.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, it was
That
that.
sounds like fun. Are you guys gonna platinum this game? Both of you guys? 'Cause I
I'm
might
pretty
do
close. I think I got like 2 or 3 trophies left.
Okay, there you go. I think I will potentially because it's not that long of a game, right? I mean, look, I took the time to platinum Assassin's Creed. What's this? Two double tier game or whatever. So I think I can make some time for Spider-Man, right? I got to be able to do that. But yeah, anything else that you played, at least before me and Dale get into kind of what we've been playing a little bit?
No, not enough to say much more about Modern Warfare 3 campaign yet, but yeah.
Okay, look. Oh, by the way, yeah, I just got it in the mail today, man. So because a lot of this is kind of like I'm hearing it. The development cycle was kind of rough and all that stuff, but I want to be able to like play it and say my part, right? I was like, I agree or I disagree or whatever it is, right? So I'm still next week. It's here somewhere in this household, so I'm gonna play it by next week. Okay. Dale, you've been throwing out a little bit of smoke. Just a little bit of smoke, and I do like that. I don't know if you tweeted it or you put it in the chat. I think you must have sent us a message on the chat. But from last week's What You've Been Playing podcast, you're like, Super Mario Brothers Wonder is boring. So please, I'm giving you the platform, sir. Explain yourself.
I did that. Yeah, no. I remember I was watching your video with you and Dalen talking about Wonder, and I was like, guys, we've played this game like how many times before? Nothing has changed really, realistically. And I had high hopes for it. I bought it in Japan and I wanted to like be excited, be fully immersed like a Japanese boy like who got their Switch in this game for the first time. I'm like, I want to like this. And I played for like I literally put like maybe an hour and a half into it. And then I sat there realizing I was like, I don't really want to keep playing this right now. I don't know. There's a lot of like because on my Switch, along with me, I brought Bowser's Fury for the Mario Land 3D World,
which is like a mini Super Mario 64, right? Like a secret mini Super Mario 64.
Yeah. And I have at the first I didn't know what the hell was going on because all this like Bowser's rising up in the sky and there's meteors falling on top of me. I have no idea what's going on, but I loved it. I enjoyed like running around, finding all these secrets, like doing these tasks and everything like that. In Wonder, it's not like that, and maybe that's like the fault of myself for playing like that DLC compared to this. And I'm like, I like Wonder. Like, there's nothing like I like all the little details, like especially when you turn into an elephant, all the little like animations that happen when you go down a warp pipe and he has to pull his hat with him through there.
Yeah.
And
or he pokes his head out right when he's coming through the other end. That kind of stuff.
And they have the normal challenge, like blue coin challenges and all this kind of stuff in there. But I'm like, I've already played this. I think it's great. I just don't think it's like a Game of the Year candidate, and I don't think it deserves a lot of the scores it was getting. I'm sorry.
Okay, I like it. You don't gotta be sorry. I like it. I will counter this with this. Now that you said you've only played it a little bit. The last couple podcasts, me and Dalen have been kind of like, and I'm trying to poke at you guys a little bit, right? But I was like, Dalen, have you found the fun yet? And last episode, I think we kind of did. And further in, I'm in the third world, but it's always tough to say that, right? To somebody like, play further. But there is at some point, and I know what you're saying, that the 3D world, for whatever reason, is more attractive, right? It feels more full. You're in it, right? 2D has kind of like, we don't really play 2D a lot, right? So, but you get further into it, and at some point, there's like a switch, Dale. There's a switch where it's like, you know what? Fuck my like nihilism, or I don't know what the word is, or like me just hating it. This is nihilism, This is just a beautiful game. This is just incredible. It's just plain joy. It's just plain joy that it's here in my hands. Look at his little drill hat. Listen to the fat beats that are happening in this game. There's a level called Ninja Jump on Party, and all you're doing is jumping to the beat and like, okay, I gotta wait till the beat comes through, and then I'll jump to the next section. And there's a bunch of like little like clever, like even like just like the fireballs. I think they used to bounce a little bit more, but I think they bounce even more now. Like you can actually bounce them off the wall. You can attack things that you didn't think you could attack or you couldn't attack before. And it's and you've enjoyed the fever dreams, right? When you grab the flower, it's like, okay, now we're tripping balls real quick. And it's like, I gotta make it to the end of this stage and to stop tripping out. But
yeah. So I do like the badges, like all the badges that you collect, so you can get special abilities to enable you to like, hit certain enemies or like defeat them in a certain way. So I was like, I like that. Yeah. But maybe I haven't played enough of it. But I'm just not impressed. That's my problem.
I challenge you. Like I said, I was playing it and I was like, I was feeling the same way. Like the thing that you were saying, like, why it's got high scores. People are, because sometimes you think it's like they're counter programming. Right? He's like, everyone likes Starfield. Everyone likes Baldur's Gate. And I was like, I'm going to be the one that like talks about 2D Mario. But it's like, they might be right. They might be. I don't know if it'll be up there right? And even for you, once you play it, hopefully a little bit further. But just listen to the music. Just play around with all the new mechanics. Just tinker with it.
I definitely have to play more of it.
Yeah.
But like if it's just like not my cup of tea anymore, like if that
fair.
2D Mario experience isn't my cup of tea anymore, then it's.
But hey, Dale, always bring the smoke, please, sir. Always bring. I don't apologize, please. We
threw
like
it in the chat. I even threw it on Twitter, and like a lot of people agreed with me. I was like, yeah, okay, I'm not crazy. I just thought that this was.
And I don't think you are. I don't think you are. But I you know what? If you got time, we're all busy. We got things to do. If you got time to push on a little bit, a little further into it. And then if you push on, then you're like, you're still not my jam. That's gonna be acceptable. It's already acceptable, by the way. But if you play a little bit more, did you? There's another game. Did you play Jusant or no? Did you play through that? That's kind of what I was gonna talk about.
That one's the next one on my list.
Okay.
But I'm like partway through.
Yeah.
No, I'm not even partway through Spider-Man 2 either. But I want to get to that one and Jusant.
Jusant, by the way, is a super short game. It's like a maybe 4 or 5 hours long game. It's really nice. I do like it. It's one of the things that you were like, Mario's boring. It's like, I'm gonna tell you how Jusant is boring. I was just kind of being facetious a little bit. But it is one of those things that I was seeing a lot of hype for it, and it's one of those like indie games with the cute art style type of thing. But it won me over, not 100%. It won me over like 83%. All right, I ended up kind of liking it. All right, and it's from Don't Nod. It's from I believe it's the same team that did Life is Strange, right? Is that Don't Nod? Or no?
Don't Nod.
Yeah, Don't Nod. So if it's a different type of game, right? It's not really like text heavy. A lot of the storytelling that's happening is you're climbing this big old tower as you're finding out what happened to the world, what happened to its inhabitants. It's on Game Pass. A lot of it is very like eco-ish. It reminded me of that. If you guys remember playing Eco, it's very. I mean, you're not hanging on to anyone, right? You're not dragging anyone along, but just the vibe of it. Right, the symbols and all that kind of stuff, and it's telling you a story through the gameplay. There is some parts though, of course, like a big part of the story was like where it breaks it down. I was like, all right, you guys are having me read through walls of text right here. I don't know how they would have figured it out, but it's a lot of letter writing and that kind of stuff. So expect to read that kind of stuff. It's very short. Yeah, I played it, I think, over the course of a day and a half or something like that. It's not very long, and that's just because took breaks and then went back to it. It's on Game Pass. It's pretty nice. I kind of would like to hear your thoughts on it, Dale. For me, I liked it, but I'm always kind of like how we were just talking about before. It's like, I want some AAA. I want something just amazing and that works smoothly. This doesn't exactly, it's not frictiony. It's not exactly frictiony, but the fact that it's like, it's a wall climbing, which is kind of cool because it actually got me to like, do I want to wall climb? Is this what I want to do with my life?
Oh, wow.
But in the what are they called, pitons or pitons or whatever it is, like
pitons,
so you do all that stuff
exactly.
Wow. So you do all that, and it's kind of cool because you're using the L2 and the R trigger, and just like, okay, you let go off this one, you're gonna grab that one, but there's friction involved with those. This is not a AAA game, but it's fun enough, it plays well enough, it's on Game Pass.
Right.
Go ahead.
Question: Is that climbing part pretty much simplified? Because like, I mean, they have climbing with the pitons like in Uncharted, but like
it's a little more complicated than Uncharted. It's not super complicated, but there's very much like, okay, I'm gonna have to swing myself on this, so I have to put in one of those. Or like if you go on for too long and you didn't piton yourself, you're gonna fall a very long way and hurt yourself, right? So it's kind of cool how it does it. Like I said, I'm looking forward to your thoughts on it in the future. It's a short game, 4 or 5 hours or something like that. The ending is, maybe we can talk about that when you get around to it, right? That'll be kind of interesting. Yep. Other than that, of course, I finished up Gungrave G.O.R.E. I won't bore you guys too much with it. I did talk about it last week. It was leaving Game Pass, and like I mentioned on what you've been playing, it's like, tell me a game is leaving Game Pass, even though you just dropped it today. Tell me it's leaving in 10 days, and I'll play your game. I think it's leaving today. It's leaving in what? You have 1 day to play it. I don't know if I really suggested that much. It gave me Dreamcast arcade vibes, though. I will say that. It has horrible voice work. I never thought like I would be like nitpicky, because I try not to be, right? Because I know, Dale, and I know you pay attention a little bit too, right, Dale, to the voices and stuff like that. But it's bad, man. It's terrible. It's really horrible. When you don't play Gungrave, there's like 2 other characters that you play as. Like, this is terrible. It's like a very like watered down version of Grave or Gungrave, the main character, and that's terrible. The recommendation just by playing it is always use your guns, because melee is crap. Like you don't really kill anything. But yeah, one of the things it reminded me of is like it's kind of Bayonetta, but like light, like very much like someone, you know, like those what are those drinks? Those LaCroix?
Crystal Light?
Well, Crystal Light, no,
like,
LaCroix.
like sparkling water.
Like it's a hint of fart of what this other thing is. This is the Gungrave G.O.R.E. It really wants to be Bayonetta. The only thing I can say is it gave me Dreamcast vibe, Dreamcast arcade vibes. You know how that era was like, these games aren't super amazing, but they're fun enough. They have decent ideas. The one plus, I guess, it has like 2-3 beautiful cutscenes. You eventually, the ending, the beginning, one in the middle. Looks pretty damn incredible, but other than that, it's on Game Pass, I guess. You got a day to play it, tinker with it if you must. We'll end it with you, Dale. What have you been playing, sir? Please explain.
Oh man, yeah. So I brought my Nintendo 3DS with me on the airplane, so I started playing Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Two Worlds.
Gotta get around to that.
And I've never been a handheld gamer like my entire life up until like this past year. And so like I started collecting all these games for the Nintendo 3DS because they were shutting down the eShop for it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, I'll start collecting some of this stuff. And this game, A Link Between Worlds, I always heard it was really good, but like I never got to it because I'm like, it's a handheld game. I don't really take too much stock in it.
You got Link like plastering himself against the wall and shitting.
Yes, but man, that mechanic alone like makes the puzzles and the world, like the base world that's normally originally from A Link to the Past, like so much more like tangible and what do you call it, like discovery rich. Like there's so much more to do because of that. And so like when you're playing, and it's super straightforward. Like I love how the mission structure works in the game. Like the only reason why I decided to like really complete it after my plane ride was like I looked it up and I was like, oh, you could finish it within like 10 hours. And I was like, no way, no Zelda game, no recent Zelda game within a decade lets you do that. So I'm like, okay, let's roll it on. And everything, like what I like about it is that the mission tells you like there are like these sages that you have to go rescue on your trip, and like there's 7 of them. That means there's going to be 7 dungeons. That means you know exactly how much time it's going to take.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's, you could tackle it with whatever way you want. Like it's open to your interpretation. You could even because like, how do you say it? Like normally in game design for Zelda games, like you need special weapons in order to
get to the next dungeon. Yeah.
Right. There they have a shop and they let you like oh yeah, if you need this boomerang that you normally would have to spend a lot of time unlocking in like Wind Waker or something, like you can just rent it for like 80 rupees.
Yeah.
At this one shop. Or
wait, so renting means it runs out at some point. It goes back.
No, so renting it goes back when you die. So if like you die, they take all your weapons and stuff away. Okay. So I mean, a good easy way to circumvent that is just to save before you go into like a dungeon and then just like reload it after that. I mean, it's really easy. But you can't purchase the weapons, and you kind of want to do that because there are these like kind of fetch quests in the game, which are super simple. Like they take like 5 seconds to do. Where if you gather enough of those resources, you could upgrade permanently those weapons. Yeah. So like instead of your bow and arrow shooting like one arrow, it'll shoot 3 in like a spread. So it covers more ground. It's easier to have.
Yeah.
So it's like little things like that you kind of discover or fall upon while playing the game, that you're just like, oh, I could get better at this, or I could become like more efficient at doing this particular dungeon or fighting this particular enemy. That like it just rolls onto itself, and you're just like, yeah, I'm constantly upgrading myself. I'm constantly discovering new things, acquiring more loot, more money,
and it's of the traditional sense Zelda, right? It's not obviously going forward. The Zelda games we're getting are open world, man. They just make too much money. They just make too much money. Why wouldn't they do it?
I love that. That's great because they create a whole very immersive world with that. But my problem is like I don't have time. I don't have time to like spend like freaking like half an hour trying to figure out how to get into this dungeon. Dungeon, but like trying to figure out a puzzle or something like that. Yeah. And I'm just like, I kind of just want the experience where I'm like, boom, a quick 30 hit. 30-minute hit, and like I'm done for the day, or like I'll come back
which
to it
is
later.
it's always kind of one of those things. Is like, who's playing these games, man? Because the Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild are like that. Whether you're like, okay, I've resigned myself. This is the type of game it is, and it's a Zelda game, and it's great. But you spend a lot of time. Or Elden Ring. Elden Ring is like you have to spend a lot of time with that game to get a lot from it or whatever it is. So it's
Right, and then with this year, it's been difficult because like another game of the year would come up. I'm like, dude, like I have to get onto Spider-Man 2 before the spoilers come out for it, or at least I don't get spoiled for it. And then when I return to something like Elden Ring or something, I completely forget how the controls even work or like where things are. So I'm just like, oh, I have to.
Yeah, so this definitely has been one of the ones. I have the game. It's under my bed somewhere, with the rest of my portable type of stuff, right? This is one of the ones that I definitely have to go back. So I appreciate you bringing this one up. I will say this one more question before we get to the next game that you've been playing. Sure. 3D or no 3D? What are you doing here?
Oh, it looks good in 3D. Okay. It looks really good in 3D. All right. Honestly, once you get the angle right, and
you have to kind of maneuver.
You do. You definitely do. Yeah. But like it looks really good in 3D. Oh, also plus side, this is the best Zelda story. Period.
Oh.
Like,
okay.
I could definitely say that. Like all the rest of them are kind of like you try to rescue Zelda or try to fight Ganon or whatever like that. Pretty straightforward. This one is not. It has a nice little wrinkle in it. I was like, oh, this is. I literally, when I finished the game, I started clapping. So I was just like, this is pretty good.
I gotta mess with it, man. How's the saving in that? The saving's pretty good. You don't gotta wait like 20 minutes, 30 minutes to save. It does some good saving. No. What's this other game? This is one that I was thinking of playing. But I've decided I'm just not gonna do it, man.
You can't. No, you can't. Personally,
okay, thank you.
I don't recommend you do it. No.
Okay, because I was like, it's like a 30-hour game. It's a little short, but I was like, I gotta go back and kind of play through the game.
You have to.
I know they're super long, but I'll critical path as much as I'll just make it a mission at some point, man. The new year, I guess. But what have you been playing, Dale? What are we over here alluding to?
Yep. So I'm playing the latest. RGG Studio game, Like a Dragon, Gaiden, or A Man Who Without a Name, or whatever. And man, it's good to play Kiryu, Kazuma Kiryu again with the brawler style gameplay. It's been a minute since Yakuza 6 since we've been able to play with him because they switched over to like an RPG real quick. And man, it is, I don't know, it gives me nostalgia feelings, and I know it's gonna make me cry because I know they have to end his story right.
Is that the? I know it's a little spoiler, but that's the idea. This is like the last chapter, kind of, for Kiryu.
Kind of. Oh, you don't. I mean, they've done. This is their third time saying goodbye to this guy, and they can't do it. It's like saying goodbye. They can't. It's like saying like how some of the major publishers they're like, oh, they're gonna kill off Master Chief, or they're gonna kill off Kratos from God of War. No, you can't do it. Because they're so tied and integral to that story and to that franchise that it's just like you're not gonna do it. Or like Marcus Phoenix. You can't kill off Marcus Phoenix. Come on.
It's gonna be one of those like I dare you, and they're gonna kill him off, and you're like,
they're gonna do it.
They did it. They did it.
Yeah, but this game is just like it reminds me of a mix between the old Yakuza style games like Yakuza 6 and the newer Judgment games, which are like
That's right, the action, right?
Yeah, the action, and not only that, but there's like all these like special missions and special storylines that remind me of Judgment, especially when discovering like clues and everything. But other than that, it's like a total copy and paste job from like the game world and the gameplay. I'll tell you that they like dressing it up. RGG Studios.
Copy and paste of which game? Which one?
All of them. It's like they
even Judgment. I guess you would get a sense of like they're just kind of they
take pieces from like Judgment's map, and then like they take pieces from the old Yakuza map and the gameplay from they pick pieces.
Well, that's how
it's all recycled content. That's all I got.
Well, that's how they could kind of keep up, right? With like making a bunch of these games and making them long as hell, because they just at that point you just focus on the story and the little mechanics.
Honestly, I think I read somewhere that this game was developed within like 8 months or something like that.
I think we might have mentioned it. I think it was on maybe last week or it was. So. Yeah, right. It was like it's with the, well, no. So what happened was is with that's the idea that it's developed within 6, and they're like, let's flesh it out a little bit more. So they took a little bit longer, but the idea was like a DLC type of version. But you're having fun with it, right? You're enjoying the story.
I definitely am. Yeah. For you, I would not start there.
All right.
I would start with Yakuza 0, definitely, because like
Oh.
if you're not familiar with what's going on in that story, it's just gonna fly over your head. You're like, what the hell's going on?
So the last one I played might have been 3. I might have beat 3. Do I gotta
Wait,
do...
so you went to 0,
No.
Kiwami 1, Kiwami 2?
No, I've done
Oh.
Yakuza 1 PS2, Mark Hamill, when they had a
Holy
legit,
neck.
they put a lot of money into it. 2, when I was like, okay, buy voices. And then I did 3, and I think that was it. I don't think I've been in 4. I think I was at 4. So I got to go to 4,
man.
right?
Well,
I had 0 installed on my hard drive for like 2 years.
And apparently that one's
played
really
it.
good. Apparently that 0 is really good.
Zero's probably the best, most well-rounded.
What's the
out of all.
strat, Dale? And we'll end it on that, man. What's the strat for me? The last one was 3. I think I beat 3. I think
you'll enjoy 0 the best.
Okay, but can I go 4, 5, 6, 0?
No.
Okay.
Don't do that.
What's
That's- like if you played 3 and you finished 3,
Okay.
you'll get a loose understanding what's going on in Like a Dragon Gaiden, but
Okay.
like other stuff, I'm like, oh, you like they hint at other characters in other games and like plot lines in other games. I'm like, there's no way someone's gonna be able to start with this and like be satisfied with what the heck's going on.
Okay, all right.
So
But I'm glad I backed off of that, man. I guess whenever I get around to figuring out which Yakuza game, but Luis is at 0 though. You haven't played any of them, right, Luis? So he should start with 0 and just kind of enjoy.
You could start with 0 or Kiwami 1 and you'll be fine.
Okay.
Like either one is
I even
great,
forgot
actually.
Kiwami's existed, man. That's been the podcast. Carlos Macias, thank you guys for joining us. We got Deo Blas, the king of Mid-Bay, expert in all things Japan as well. I'll throw that one out there. You might not like that moniker, but I'm gonna give it to you.
I'm getting there.
Look, if we all go together at one point, you will be the master. You will be the.
Oh my God,
Please tell us where to go, Dale. We're gonna be scared, man. And Luis Mendez on the wheels of steel, of course. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Make sure to comment, click the bell, all that fun stuff. Latest.